Hi guys, it's Faith again. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a story time of when I fell pregnant to Blake all the way up to my labour and birth and sort of how I coped at the beginning. So let's get started. I was 14. I was in a relationship with his dad for about 3 months when I fell pregnant. But at this point, I didn't actually know. So, a couple of months go by, and me and Blake's auntie, we were debating on when we were going to come on our periods, because we were quite similar when we come on our periods. And that month, I generally didn't come on at all. And when I did, it was just spotting, it wasn't a period, it was just spotting, and I kind of didn't notice it then. I didn't realise, that is a sign of pregnancy. So, just carried on with my weeks, and I actually did turn around to Blake's auntie and I was like, look, am I getting fat? Because it's not something that I look like. But she always said no because she didn't want to put me down in myself. But I then decided that I needed to buy a pregnancy test. I had to make sure because none of my friends knew that I'd lost my virginity except me. So I went and bought a pregnancy test, and Blake's auntie was looking at me like, why are you buying a pregnancy test? You ain't lost your virginity. So I bought them because it come with 2 in a packet. So I went back to Blake's auntie's house and I was like, right, I'm going to go take these. So I took one of them and I said to her, if it comes up positive, I will take another one just to make sure. So it kind of come up on the test pretty quick and I was like, oh, damn, I'm pregnant. So I took another one and it pretty much come up the same. It was so quick. I was like, oh my, what am I going to do now? Me and my mate, which is Blake's auntie, we carried on with our weeks. We were like, oh, how are we going to tell people? Should we just keep it to ourselves for now? So we agreed on keeping it to ourselves, and we went to my mates at the weekend. There was a group of us. We went and stayed with my dad, and we had, it was for her birthday, so we had all different things we were doing. Face masks, you name it, we were doing it. So after a while being there, my friends were getting a bit wary of me because I was like, don't jump on me. And they were a bit like, oh, why? And I was just like, there's no reason. So when we got back from there, me and my mate, Blake's auntie, we went down to family planning. We then asked if we could get a pregnancy test. So I did everything that she asked me and it came up positive, and I was like, snap back to reality, this is what's happening, I'm pregnant. So she asked me, what do you want to do? Do you want some time to think about it? I was like, yeah. There was no way I was going to have an abortion anyway. I know how young I was, but I don't agree with them unless they are for a serious matter. But that's just my opinion. So we then went back to my mum and I told my mum. She was a little bit disappointed, but wasn't much. She was more shocked than anything. After I told my mum, I actually went back and told my mate's mum, who's Blake's nan as well. So after that, I went home and my mum had a little moan at me. She was like, all the sacrifices you're going to have to give up. You're not going to be able to go out to parties every weekend. You're not going to always be able to go out with your mates. This baby is now your responsibility. You have to put this baby in front of everything. I was like, yeah, I know what I've done, and I'm myself was prepared to make the sacrifices. So after me and my mum had a little chat. I left it about a week before I told my dad. And, I mean, all parents are going to be disappointed. And, yeah, he was quite disappointed. But we sorted it all out. And, yeah, so they were really supportive of me. They helped me through the pregnancy and stuff. So, after that, I kind of didn't actually find out I was pregnant till after my 15th birthday as well, due to I was having a little drink with my mates, and yeah, I was such a lightweight. I used to get drunk off of 4%, and yeah, but after all of that, my pregnancy was a really easy pregnancy. I didn't have no problems, no complications, nothing. He was always healthy. I never smoked, I never drank when I was pregnant, so everything was fine. He was as healthy as they can be. My midwife even said to me that I was one of the easiest patients that they've had to deal with pregnancy. So I think it was like every week or so I would have a appointment with my midwife where she'd check the baby's heartbeat, check my blood pressure, and check all of that, make sure that everything inside of me was going alright, which they make you do a lot of wee samples, but they use like these strips that tell you if like, I think it's like your calories or something is alright and everything's fine inside and everything's just healthy, and the heartbeat's the main one. As a young mum, you will, like, at my age, you get, like, I think it's, like, 3 or 4 scans, because an older person would only get 2, but because you're so young, it's easier to tell if they're growing properly and if they're more healthy if you get 4 scans, where when you're older, they measure your bump with a tape measure, which I have done once before with me, but because I'm so small, my bump was really small, so that didn't match the measurements that they were putting in my book when they were doing the scans. But yeah, so I had my midwife's appointments, did all that, went for my scans, everything was fine, and when I started to get little contractions, I was round my Blake's auntie's at the time, and we went out for dinner, and we had a curry the day before I started getting the contractions, and I then kind of thought, oh, like, we're getting closer to the due date, a curry, pineapple and stuff like that always helps to bring the baby on and to help induce labour. So we had a curry, and obviously we went back to hers. The next day we went out for food again with some of our friends, and I started getting little contractions, but I didn't think nothing of it until my mum rang me and was like, oh, are you getting any pain? And I was like, yeah, a little bit, like, it's not bothering me though. I then went home, and me and my mum decided that we would try everything to induce labour. I don't like tea, so I never tried the raspberry tea, because that's disgusting. But I tried pineapple, a curry, obviously. I tried dancing. Walking wouldn't help because I walked literally every single day during my pregnancy. So that didn't really help. I think me and my mum tried a few other things, but I can't exactly remember what they are. But later that night, I come home and me and my mum put some music on. So we were like, oh, let's try and induce labour. So we were dancing around, just trying to help bring the baby on, trying to open up the cervix. But during this during this time, the pain wasn't that bad. Like, I was going to the toilet like pretty often then. Like, don't move it, don't move it, don't move it. And then and then after we finished dancing, my mum kept on track of the times and stuff, and she was like, are they getting any worse? I said, a little bit. She goes, do you think you've got to go to the hospital? I went, well, we can go to the hospital if you want to. So we went to the hospital, and the midwife had checked me over. She said, you're only 1 centimetre dilated still, so we can't exactly keep you in until you're 4 centimetres dilated. So we got sent home, and the next day the pain started getting worse. So I was able to sleep the day before, but this day it was getting worse. I couldn't exactly like do anything. I was trying my hardest to like bring this baby on and stuff like that. Like, they tell you to breathe, but it's really hard to breathe when the pain is so intense. But the pain was only the worst bit for me because of it was in my hips and my back, and sometimes when I walk my hips actually clip, so I wouldn't have been surprised if they were actually in my hips. So the second day, obviously the pain started getting worse. This is the day when me and my mum actually sat down and we brought pineapple and a few other bits that we tried to bring on labour. I think the pineapple was the one that helped the most for me. The walking didn't really help because, like I said, I walked every single day. But the pain generally started getting worse. I said to my mum I was going to get into her bed, I was going to put on a film and I was going to just lay there and watch it. Well, that didn't happen because as soon as I put the film on, my mum was asleep. I was walking up and down my hallway in so much pain. I didn't end up sleeping. I think I might have got about 10 minutes sleep. Not even that. The next day I was sitting on the sofa, rocking in pain because the pain got so much worse. And just like where I haven't been able to sleep, I was physically like drowning on the sofa, trying to keep myself awake when the pain had gone. And as soon as the pain had gone, I'd be like wide awake. Later that night, we ended up going back to the hospital, and they turned around to me and was like, "You're only 2 centimetres dilated still. We can give you like a tiny bit of medication, which will help release the pain a bit." Well, the medication helped for about an hour, not even that much. And the medication they give you is stupid. They can't exactly tell you to do anything else for the pain at home. All they say is to take paracetamol. But you have to take the paracetamol because I said to my mum, there's no point me taking paracetamol because the pain's not exactly going to go. But when she rings the midwife says, has she took paracetamol? And my mum would be like, no. And they'd say, take paracetamol. So I had to. The next night, the pain got astonishingly worse. It come to the point where I was sitting down, dozing off, and like every 2 minutes I'd be like awake, walking around in so much pain, trying to breathe through the pain. I ended up going to bed with a hot water bottle, and every time I got a contraction, I ended up moving it from one side of my hip to my back, and then repeated on the other side. At this point, I'm using the techniques that they tell you to breathe, because the more you use the techniques with breathing, the more you're pushing the baby's head down on your cervix to open up. So by about an hour of doing that, say half hour to an hour of doing that, I rush up quickly because I just feel this massive gush of water running down my leg, and I get up and I've had to change all my clothes because I am drenched. I generally thought that I had wet myself to the point that I just couldn't stop it. And my mum was like, "That's your water's breaking." I was like, right. The midwife had said before that you might want to wait at home for a while because the urge to push sometimes doesn't start straight away. So I was laying on the bed and my mum rang my midwife while I was laying on the bed, saying that my waters had broken everything. But as soon as she got on the phone to them, I needed to push. I felt like that I needed to go to the toilet really bad, but I couldn't physically get up to go. That the pushing of it, like my hips went numb, and it's just like one of these things where you can't stop pushing. So my mum called her mate and we drove it to the hospital, and they said, like, "Come on the bed, we need to examine you." I was like, "But I really need to go to the toilet." They were like, "No, let's examine you first." So I sat on the bed and they said that I was 10 centimetres dilated and the baby was coming. So after holding my mum's and her mate's hand, pushing Blake out, the pain, I say, like, it wasn't actually that painful as I thought it was going to be. It's the, like, you get a burning sensation, but it only lasts for, like, literally not even 30 seconds. And that is literally just to get the head, like, around, and then the shoulders. So it's like 30 seconds each piece. So, like, the head coming out, and then the shoulders. So it's about a minute altogether. And the pain, it wasn't actually that bad. I mean, the contractions was the worst bit for me. But pushing Blake out, in my opinion, didn't actually hurt. I didn't have no gas and air. I didn't have no needles, no nothing. Just so natural that it's like, I can't really describe the pain of it because it's not really a pain. It's more of a tense, like, you need to push. That's all that your mind focuses on, is pushing, and it kind of makes your legs and that go numb. Well, after pushing Blake for 50 minutes, this is at 2:58 now in the morning, and the paperwork takes so long to do. We then got out the hospital after they did all their checks and everything, said everything was fine. All the paperwork was done. I ended up getting out at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, or was it the morning? Morning, afternoonish. Yeah, I ended up getting out at 11 to then go home. Now, I had a few stitches because Blake tore me. I think they said it that he tore me in a Y. So it was quite painful walking out the hospital and going to the toilet and everything. That is really painful. But yeah, I got home, and my mum sort of took over for the first night. She was like, "You've had, like, a long week. I'll wake up for Blake in the morning. Well, during the night, shall I say. And then in the morning, you can take over, and then you can do it." So, in the morning, I made him a bottle, because we were using the ready prep ones that we had bought for when we were in the hospital. After we had used them, one of my mum's mates bought us a prep machine, which they are honestly the most brilliant item I have ever used for a baby. Makes the bottles ready, like, warm and all you've got to do is put the powder in it and the water in the machine, and it does the rest for you. So that was really easy, and she kind of like showed me that you have to be gentle, with like really gentle, when you change a newborn baby, which she showed me how to do it. She showed me like changing a nappy. I already know how to change a nappy, but I've never actually changed a newborn nappy before. So she showed me how to do that and was like, do this, wipe, put the nappy on and stuff. And when you get them dressed, this is like an easier way to put their bodysuits on and stuff like that. After she showed me once, that was it. I did it on my own. Like getting him to sleep and stuff, that was no problem. I mean, there was a few times I struggled to get him to sleep, but then my mum was like, here, I'll take him, I'll try. And then she'd get him to sleep and then everything would be fine. There's only been a few times of that. But other than that, I've coped very well with him. He's now 2. And I'm now 17, turning 18 in July. So I have been with him for about, 2 years now. And honestly, he's the best thing that had ever happened to me. Many things I could say that I probably would be like if I didn't actually have Blake. But he changed. If you have a baby, he changes your life, or they change their life, your life. They will generally change your life. They will make, they're your first priority. And it's the best feeling in the world to be a mum. But, yeah, so that's my story time. If you guys want to give me some more ideas of what to do, you can comment on my Instagram, any others. If you have my Snapchat, then drop a idea that you would like me to do for my next video. So yeah, so please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this story time. Bye.